3, 2, 1, live. Okay, here we go. Hello, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Going live today for a little bit of lunchtime live information. Right in the middle of a couple things, but I realized what time it is, and I realized how hungry I was, and realized I had not done my lunchtime live yet. It's a really great thing about orienting a task around a food item, because then it helps me remember that that is something that I need to do. Go live and then eat some food. I guess I could eat some food beforehand, but my Fitbit has informed me that I have not done my 250 steps this hour. That's all right. It's a good day. Lots of work getting done, lots of conversations being had, lots of news being discovered, lots of research being done. So I wanted to go live a little bit today to talk about hashtags and some interesting information about employment that I have recently found out. So anybody who knows me knows that I do a lot of reading, lots and lots of reading. One of the key elements to being successful in any job is to, or I personally think in life, is to continue your learning. Always be learning something new, always be educating. Reading topics, watching videos, reading books, having good conversations with people who are smarter than you is a great way to do these things, to continue that learning. So I wanted to go live. Part of these lunchtime lives is to help share this information that I'm learning and help other people learn stuff as well. So I just posted a blog a little ago about hashtags. And in the course of doing this blog, I did a little more research that was incredibly interesting about the history of hashtags. And of course, along with the proper strategies of what one should do when learning about or when using hashtags, good practices, best practices, etc. So let me go ahead and pull that up. I know the internet here isn't the best, but it seemed to be working really well lately, so that is a bonus. All right, go ahead and log in. So lesson learned, I probably should be a little bit more prepared beforehand, because as soon as I go live, nothing else wants to load too well. Gotta turn the internet off of everything else. But fortunately, I have ordered a mobile hotspot that should be here sometime next week. I got this little device, kind of looks like a passport, you know, the ones that you plug into your computer, like a hard disk drive, and it connected to my phone service it's $40 a month for 10 gigabytes of additional 4G data. So we will see how that works. I'm feeling really positive and excited about it. More good news, the snowstorm did hit, the nor'easter. It snowed a lot, but we did not lose power. There were quite a few brownouts, which is where the power flickers on and off a little bit for a couple of times. And a transformer did blow across the street and they lost power, unfortunately. It came back on relatively quickly though. But for the most part, we all kept power, which is good. I did not grow up in the Northeast, so this whole nor'easter occurrence is very entertaining. It snowed with lightning and thunder at the exact same time. So that is definitely not something I've seen before. Nothing quite like walking outside with snow and then lightning just cracks overhead. That is a new phenomenon for me, but incredibly interesting. So hello, Gary. Hi, Cheryl. Hey, Kate. How's everybody doing today? This afternoon, I guess, if you're on the East Coast or Central Time. So if you're dropping on here, I've got a little bit of a lag since I'm loading that article about hashtags. If you're just dropping on, will you do a little smiley face in the comments? Drop a good emoji. Let me know how you're feeling today. If you've had lunch, what it's like. If you haven't had lunch, what it's like. I'm going to have a lunchtime after my lunchtime live today. But finally went to the grocery store and we have some good food, so that is great. Also, by dropping those numbers or emojis in the comments, it really would help me out because I know the internet's not so great. So I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So can you let me know that you can hear me okay? Really, really appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Good to know. Okay. I was just talking about getting a mobile hotspot, so that should arrive next week, and then I'll know for sure that the internet is on point. So for those of you just joining, hello, my name is Rihanna. I'm the founder of Pancake Digital Solutions, and talking today a little bit about what is hashtags and the employment gap. Interesting articles that I've read about employment, especially in digital marketing, that align very much with the different things that I have observed. All right, so I'm gonna load this here now. Perfect. So hashtags originally are, if you've lived before, if you remember anything before 1999, you'll remember that they are called pound signs, the pound key, or when you call into a phone call, when you're listening to your voicemail, you have to type in a number and press the pound key. But that isn't even the first original use of the symbol. So this symbol here, the hashtag, I'll draw it out, originally was created. It comes from a Latin symbol that stands for the pound, like a weight. The pound of weight, pound by weight, is according to dictionary.com. And that is originally where it came from. The hashtag then, a little history lesson today. I'm a bit of a history nerd, so I love sharing these stories with you all. In the 1960s, this pound key was integrated into a telephone system as a way to give orders to the telephone operators. So previously you'd have to call, say, you know, operator, please connect me with. Eventually they got phone systems that were much improved. But moving forward from there, a pound key was something that was part of the phone system to help you let the operating system, the phone system that you're talking to, know what you're doing. So that's something that we all used quite a lot, probably still use it today. Although I was on a conference call the other day where they said, please type in your number followed by the pound or hash key, which nothing quite like hearing people call it the hashtag button on your phone, which is true, I guess. It's accurate. Many names for many things. So what we currently know today as a hashtag started in 2007. A gentleman named Chris Messina first suggested the idea in 2007 with how do you feel about using the key, the pound symbol, for groups, as in tag bar camp. This was for a conference as a way to tag the conversation. So with Twitter, everybody's shooting out messages, everybody's posting tweets, hundreds, thousands, millions of people are posting content and information as they go on Twitter. And so if you have a specific location, a specific theme, a topic going on that you want to make sure that you're having that conversation with everyone else, you want to use that hashtag to tag that theme so that your ideas, your tweets get seen by people who want to be talking about that theme as well. It's kind of like if you walked into a cocktail party and you wanted to talk a little bit more about a business venture or a certain theme, and you hear at this table they're talking about, you know, the drinks, at this table they're talking politics, at this table they're talking about peanut butter, but you really want to talk about the pancake recipe that came out at the conference earlier that day. And you see over there people are talking about pancake recipes, so you walk over there and you can have that conversation with them. Hashtags do the same thing for you. If you want to go have a conversation about pancake recipes, you can search for hashtag pancake recipe. Or if you want to start the conversation, that's what you can include it on your tweet so that people know a little bit more about what you're talking about. I know a lot of times we think of hashtags as maybe a sarcastic or ironic or interesting remark of the, you know, oh, hashtag OMG, hashtag the struggle bus, you know, as jokes that when we're talking, irony, or putting it in a post to be funny, which is true. I use this myself all the time. See, trying to book a rover sitter. Too many things at once. Don't multitask. It's bad. So, yeah, I totally just sidetracked myself. Apologies. But anyways, hashtags really originally were created for Twitter, and Twitter is still a great place to use hashtags. You want to use maybe 2 to 5 hashtags on a tweet to help categorize or label what it is you want to talk about. Your business, your industry, the topic of the specific tweet, what's trending. Yesterday was National Cereal Day, so hashtag National Cereal Day was trending quite a bit during this time, during yesterday, on Facebook as well, which hashtags aren't frequently used on Facebook. So that is the good, oh, hey, Misty, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a while. What's been going on? The other place where hashtags are really frequently used is on Instagram. Instagram is a lot more of pictures, very similar to a photo album. So if you had, it's kind of like an interactive photo album that you can share with the world, ongoing recording your life in images, which is really cool. This is like flashing and all kinds of lights and stuff, so I'm hoping you can hear me because I know the internet here isn't the best. I'm getting a mobile spot. I'm working on it. But, oh, it looks like, okay, perfect. Oh, busy. Hey, you know what? Having a full life is fantastic. It's nothing more enjoyable than waking up in the morning and jumping to your feet because you're so excited by the work that you do every day and you love what you do and the people you talk to. That's the definition of a successful life, in my opinion. There's way too much in the world to do to ever be bored. But anywho, back to Instagram. Instagram is a lot of photos that we can share out, and including hashtags with those photos helps to organize what the content of the photo is about. Very similar to starting a conversation on Twitter, except for Twitter is kind of just a continuous newsfeed based on time. When you're looking at it, you're seeing it in chronological order. Instagram, kind of all over the place. There's a little bit of the algorithm, who you follow, what you want to see, as well as with hashtags, searching hashtags, what you want to see, what you want to use. It's a great way to reach more people, to look at, hashtag dogs of Instagram. If you have dogs and you want to see pictures of dogs. So that's Instagram. I use hashtags on Facebook to be able to go back and search for my stuff, to pop up some fun and snark into a comment. Yeah, exactly. Hashtags are fun and snarky. I use them ironically all the time as well. And that's a great way. So hashtags for Facebook for business, I don't usually recommend them, but I have seen them be successful for a few different occasions. But that right there is another great way of explaining what hashtags are. They are a way to label and categorize your content, but for everyone. So it's as if we're all social media, you're publishing information. Every time you post something, you are publishing in a way that was not accessible to people previously. Once upon a time, only high prestigious bookmakers could publish any type of information. Anybody and their grandmother can pull out their phone and pop a little something and publish it out to the world, which is great, which is wonderful. Wonderful way to share ideas, be connected, share information, learn more. But it also means there's a lot more content. So a library is organized. You have a library filing system, the Dewey Decimal System. So you can find the content, the sciences that you want to look for, and find the books that you want to look for. Hashtags are kind of like the Dewey Decimal System for Twitter. Is maybe a very geeky way of explaining it. But since the first half of this was a history lesson on the pound symbol, I guess we've established the geekiness here. But that's a really good way to help organize your content, tag it, label it. Essentially, a hashtag is a label. It's an organization system. Or to be snarky, because, well, we like being snarky. Seems to be the popular thing. But yeah, any questions on hashtags? Any other comments, thoughts? Love Dewey. I might have to publish that one and see if that resonates with people. I'm going to write that down. Is that hashtags equal the Dewey? One reason that example comes up is if you read any marketing book, any digital media book, social media marketing, any type of formal education about digital marketing, it usually starts with talking about the very first book publishers. And I took a summer course once upon a time right out of high school that we actually went through and made a book the old-fashioned way with those print presses where you have the hand-carved wooden blocks and you lay out word for word, and then you paint it all with some ink and you roll it. And that was how we were able to print a page and make a book that way. So you learn kind of from the very beginnings of publishing and get into the social media in a more academic sense is just a type of publisher. Yeah, you know, I mean, it makes sense if you have spent a lot of time in the library. Definitely remember in elementary school going to the library and having to learn the Dewey Decimal System, learning about the Library of Congress, learning how it all works. But then some point in high school, we switched over to the online system. So you use an online researcher to find all the books you wanted in the library. Which was also really helpful and more convenient. And you know, now there's Google Books and Kindle and Amazon, and you can join a book club and have the book delivered to you that evening. This is my current book club book. I've heard lots and lots and lots of people talking about this. So when the book club I'm a part of said that that's what they're going to read, I'm reading it. It's primarily focused on marriages. A lot of it is partners and whatnot, but I think that it could be, it's good information for anybody. For me, in the first couple of chapters, I've already established and figured out why some people have stayed my friends and why some people haven't, based on what I perceive as my language of love. So, hey Joanna, how are you? Good afternoon. Happy lunchtime live. So just talking a little bit about hashtags, sort of the history of it, giving a few analogies as to what a hashtag can be like. Hey! And yeah, I mean, that's kind of, if you want to go back and watch it, I won't bore Misty, but went through a little comparisons of where hashtags came from, what they can be like, how we use them, kind of how a hashtag is like a Dewey Decimal System, just a categorization tool. So I want to move on to, unless you have any questions about hashtags, please let me know. Otherwise, I would like to move on to the next topic that I am going about for this live. Awesome, thank you. And it's about well, I titled it The Employment Gap, Why No One Can Find a Job and Why Companies Don't Have the People they need. Where this comes from is some of my own observations, as well as a couple of conversations I've had this past week and an article I read on the plane when I was flying home from Las Vegas this past weekend. Vegas, baby. But the article was talking about why there are so many people who are looking for jobs, especially in the tech industry, who are, you know, social media experts and marketing experts, digital marketing, digital media, why there's so many people who are in that field, and yet why no companies can find a good person for social media. Pretty much everybody I talk to, their company wants to hire someone to do their social media, or they're trying to figure out how to do it in-house, or they've had the position open and they just haven't found the right candidate. So on the one side here, you have a plethora of people with this skill set who can't find jobs. And on the other side here, you have employers who have these jobs and they need these skills, but they can't fill them. So what's missing? You would think, great, here's a whole bunch of people that have these skills. Here's companies that, or people in that industry. Here's companies who need people in that industry. And yet they're not connecting. They're not finding the people they want. People aren't getting hired. The companies aren't getting the jobs they need. And this article broke it down into skills, especially for digital media, which if you've watched any of my lives, this won't come as a surprise to you, but it emphasizes the importance of data. Data in the online industry. Anybody's sisters, uncles, grandfathers, neighbors, nephews, niece can post on social media for you. You know, you get all these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are Instagram gurus who are going to run your social media for you and for your business, which is fine. It's great. I mean, shit, that's how I got my start. But the difference between that and all the people who, like, yeah, I have a personal Facebook, I could run somebody's Facebook page, and an actual company that hires somebody in is the data, the accountability, the relevancy. So you hire somebody into your company and they're posting on Facebook for you. Well, so what? What does that mean? Are they doing a good job? Is your content being seen? Is it going out? What do you need Facebook for? Do you even need an Instagram page? Do you need a Twitter? Do you need a Pinterest? Do you have all of them and you're paying somebody a ton of money to put content out there? Well, is it working? How do you know? Well, it's the data. It's the numbers. There is so much data behind social media sites. Facebook, Facebook ads, Pinterest, anything. They're loaded with data so that you can tell every single post, where it's been seen, who's been looking at it, who comments on it. You can see month over month growth. It comes down to accountability and skill set. Anybody, I'm sure any 18, 19, 20-year-old could post on Instagram for you. That seems to be the conversations that I have. People just assume, oh, you're young, you can help me with this thing. For any technology thing. I've had people just hand me phones with random applications and say, this isn't working, you're young, you can figure out how to fix it for me, which is bizarre, but it seems to be the mentality we have. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that I know how it is. I'm an Android girl. I have had Androids forever. I think when iPhones first came out, I had an iPhone. I loved it for a few months, and then I didn't. And I've been on Android ever since. Someone hands me an iPhone, I have trouble figuring it out at first. I have an iPad, so I keep up with the iOS system, especially for social media sites and helping with content relevant things. But if it's connecting iTunes to your iPhone, I can't help you. I have not done that in 10 years. Well, probably more like 8. I guess I'm being dramatic. But in technology speak, that's a big difference. It's important. And so that's where the gap lies. It's these skill sets. It's these accountability. It's the hard data. If you can publish, anybody can publish on Facebook. Anybody can publish on Instagram. But how do you know if it's working? If you're a professional in the industry, you should have a way to show that accountability, to show that data, to have the skill set to understand how to do the exports of the analytics and show month over month improvement and KPIs and the statistics and whatever the client wants to know. However, even if we know how to do those things, we aren't always good at communicating them. So, for example, I may know a lot about Facebook ads and know a lot of the specific things of how they work, but how do I let people know that, yes, I know how to implement Facebook Pixel in 5 different types of sites and what you can do from it and integrations with Google Analytics, blah, 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 blah. Well, what does that even mean? So that's just an interesting topic, an interesting concept. If you find this is something that you are dealing with, if someone we all know somebody who is well educated and smart and brilliant, but they just can't find the job that they need. And we also all know people who can't find the help that they need. They can't find the employees that they need. And so, especially in the digital marketing field, the technology field, it's really important to be clear on those specific things. Kind of like the 5 languages of love. One person could be saying words of affirmation, and the other person wants to see actions of love. With social media, with digital media, and working with somebody, you could be having, one person is posting beautifully created content that's fantastic, but the other person just wants to know how many clicks to the website are happening. And so one person over here is talking reach, the other person over here is talking traffic. And if you don't acknowledge that, if you don't establish that, if you don't figure it out, it just seems like nothing works. So just a little bit of knowledge to share today. If anybody has any questions, I'll open it up for a couple of seconds. Grab a glass of water. Water's good for you, y'all. So anything more on Twitter and hashtags, I also posted today a blog on what hashtags are with a little bit of where they came from and a link for more information. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I will pop it in the comments so you can check it out and post it on Facebook. It's called What the Hashtag, because why not, right? All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this Lunchtime Live. I am going to go grab some grub because I'm hungry. Have a beautiful day and happy advertising.